Look at that McFarlane influence. Oh yeah. Episode of Gen X Gamer. I hope everybody's out there is blessed, having a great time, having a great weekend. I'm a little late, but why? Because I was working my tail off at my second job. That's right, guys. You know, today I wanted to talk about why I collect the games the way I collect them, right? And there's a particular way that I collect my games, and it has a lot to do with how I came across games when I was younger. And that is that, you know, I didn't come from great means, right? I was on the struggle, always. I started working when I was 14 years old, okay? And look, guys, this is not a woe is me story or anything like that, not at all, you know? Everything that I've done throughout my life, whether it's good or bad, happy or sad, you know, difficult or easy, has brought me to the place I am now, and now I'm very happy. So all those things had to happen for a reason to get me to the point where I'm at now. They were all learning experiences, right? Some were tough, some were great. That's just the way life is. I'm better than most, not as good as some. And hopefully you guys are out there had better experiences and are super blessed and everything. But why do I collect games the way I do? Why do I have a part-time job to buy more games? And it has to do a lot with the way I engaged with games, right? At first, games for me were a great escape. You know, it was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm in a bad situation, and here's this game where it can transport me to somewhere else, and all of a sudden, whatever was going on wasn't as important as it was. You know, I would put all my focus and my energy into that game, and all the negativity, all the stuff that was around me that was not conductive to happiness took a backseat. It wasn't as important. It wasn't as important. And that in itself taught me a lesson that what exterior things did to me on the outside is something that I had to relearn again, right? Sometimes you forget. But if you're positively driven on your goals, or you have something in mind where you're just laser focused on, everything else that would bother you sometimes would just become noise. And that's what video games did for me. I was so focused not only on playing them, but on getting them, that everything else, no matter how bad it was, you know, what situations were going on, they just became noise in the background, right? I started working when I was 14. Why? Because I couldn't go to the arcade with my friends. You know, they had parents that would give them tons of money. And, you know, my mother loved us, you know, but we just didn't have that kind of money to go spend $40 in an arcade every weekend, right? So all of us had to work pretty soon, because that's the only way we could, you know, do stuff the other kids did. And that's what I did. You know, I started working really young. I was 14. I wasn't even supposed to be working, right? But that's what allowed me to keep on going to the arcade, right? And play with my friends and buy those snacks and hang out and do all that stuff, right? It was video games. It was a love of video games that drove me to that. It wasn't even girls. I wasn't saving up to buy a car, you know, so I could press it. No. I wanted Super Nintendo, right? That's why I was, you know, working so hard back then. And I laugh about it now, you know, but at the time I was miserable that I didn't have all the games that my friends had. You know, I would go to some of my friends' houses and they'd have like 12 games lying around. I had like 2 games. The game that it came with the console, and I got one for the next Christmas. That was it. You know, these guys had a bunch of games lying around, man. It used to drive me nuts. You know, I used to go visit them and I'd play their games, you know. But they just had those means, but they didn't appreciate it as much as I did, because I had to work for my games, right? And as an adult, the same thing, you know, nobody ever bought me games. I had to buy myself games. And, you know, once I became a parent, it would only be with extra money, extra funds, you know, whatever extra was, you know, whether it be a bonus or be a little bit of work time. There's never extra money when you have kids. So, I mean, my collecting was null, So as my kids grew up and were able to get more things, I would buy, really games for my kids. I would play them too, but my son mostly. And that's just the way it was. Kept some of them, and went out from there. But whenever I wanted a game, whenever I wanted something special, I really had to go over and above to obtain that thing. And you know what? That made the experience even better, because it wasn't only the anticipation of the game coming out. It was that I knew that I had to do something extra, So when that Street Fighter came, when that Super Nintendo came, when that you name the console came, it was at a greater price. It was at a greater sacrifice that most people around me had to make for that particular item. For most of them, it was a gift. It was never gifted for me. If I wanted it, I really had to work my ass off for it. That's really what I had to do. And it's the same thing I'm doing now. Yeah, I'm buying games, but I'm getting a part-time job, so I'm really not collecting anything to buy these games. I'm going the extra mile. I'm sacrificing, social time, or, I'm not buying any booze. I'm not doing any of those things. I'm really just concentrating on work, school, and my hobby right now is video games. That's it, So when I do come across these games that I search and I do a plan for, it really, really just gives me a complete sense of satisfaction. It takes me back to those days when I was really struggling to get those games. And that's why I do things in these manners, because to me, the process has always been work your ass off, right, for that game that you really, really want. Number one. Number two, go, work. And number three is go get the game, eventually play it, and when you do play it, is you get that euphoria, that just sense of satisfaction of finally owning this thing that you worked for, and that's kind of what I find, pleasure and satisfaction. And really, I mean, that's really what it is. I have a good collection. I wouldn't say it's great or amazing or anything like that compared to whatever you're seeing out there on the internet. It's decent, but it's never been about that for me. And it's been about the games. It's been about the actual games, the games I wanted to play, the games I didn't get to play. When I first started this channel, I told you, these aren't stories like you hear from these guys. Oh, my dad and my mom bought me this, and then my uncle, and then this and that and the other. I got none of those stories for you when it comes to video games. These are pretty much the stories I have for you. I worked my ass off, and then I bought the game. And it's still the case, and I still love it. I think that when things come easy to you, sometimes you don't appreciate them as much. And video games are something that never came easy to me. Never came easy. But you know what? The enjoyment of it, what they gave me back, so much more. Through the hunger of video games, I learned to be a hard worker because I knew I needed to get those games. And again, these are from where I'm a little kid. I mean, you can imagine walking into a pizza shop and there's a 14-year-old kid who's not only going to make your pizza, but serve you, right? I was sitting there, guys, I didn't even know how to cook, but I knew I had to figure it out, and I had the kind of boss where like, hey, there was no training. Listen, look, I should just make a video of this, it's just like, this is what we do here. Here's a set of keys, close up at night, slide them under the door when you're done, and go home. That was it. And I worked from 6 to closing, which was 10 o'clock, usually weekdays. I wouldn't work on weekends, because they didn't let me in, because, there would be more people around or what have you to see me that I was working there. But they didn't really, And I did that until I was able to work legally, so I worked doing that for 2 years, and then eventually I turned 16, and then I got a real job basically doing the same thing, and just continued to work from there. That's how I got all my games. That's how I got my Game Boy and everything else that came from there, man. And wow, what a journey it's been. And if you would have told me back then I would be enjoying video games as much as I do now, I wouldn't have believed you. But because they would tell me, you're gonna grow out of it and this and that, and sometimes I feel a little odd, like I don't want to grow out of this. I don't know why you think I should grow out of this, but this to me is technology. It's computers. It's like telling somebody you're gonna grow out of enjoying movies, or you're gonna grow out of watching a television show. That's idiotic, right? And it's the same with video games, but these people are from a different generation. They're not from Gen X and above, where video games is a form of entertainment, and for me it's been a lifelong lifestyle that I've never let go, and it's always brought me positive things, it's never been a negative for me. I never overplayed my games, just simply because I had other responsibilities, so when it came to gaming, it's something that I had to do. It's the moments that I have for myself, man, and I'm still enjoying it, and right now, I worked in the last 14 days, I worked 13 days, right? And 3 days I worked because I'm planning to buy. I'm saving, so when the time comes for me to buy the things that I want to buy in the future, I don't want to sneeze or worry about it or think, I'm not taking care of this responsibility, or not taking care of school, or not taking care of this or that, the other, because I'm spending money on this video game. No, I am working my tail off to make sure that I do have money for those things. And even with the money that I do have, I'm very thrifty. Are there big ticket items that I want to buy? Yes, of course there are. Polymega, maybe. I'm thinking about it, guys. I'm thinking about it. Not gonna say yet, but I'm investigating. I'm feeling things. I'm hearing things that I like. So, that feels Christmassy to me. Feels Christmas. Want to make sure that it works. But it'd be a great space saver. But anyway, guys, I also want to. I know that where I'm gonna move in this new place, it's like a dorm, and yes, because I'm college. In case you haven't seen my videos, dudes, I'm in college. So I found this great place. I'm moving in a couple of weeks, but it's very cramped, and it's going to be the smallest space that I've ever lived in, I think, since I was 12. So in order to put all my games in there, I think I'm going to have to build something, because there isn't anything that I'm going to buy anywhere that is going to fit my games in this small amount of space. What I want to do is I want to play games. I want to record videos. I'm going to have more free time for that. But I really have to be wise with my space. At least the time that I'm sacrificing here in this area while I'm going to school, earning my degree, so in the future I can go to greener pastures. Because why? Because I'm working my ass off. I'm grinding, man. I'm a grinder. Little by little, I'm getting to where I want to be, right? I'm getting to those golden years, to that golden age, and I have a plan. I have a plan to game well into whatever age I get to be, but I'm going to do it in style, man. And that's what I'm working with. That's what I'm working for long term, right? Some of you might be younger, some of you might be older, but in some way and somehow we connect because we're on that same wavelength, that we love games, and however it is that we play them, for whatever reasons we play them, they make us happy. Alright guys, I just want to talk about why I do the crazy stuff that I do sometimes, and the reasons why I'm doing, but trust me, this is part of the process, grinding, working. It's what I've always done, and it's what really brings me joy, to struggle for a game, to want a game, and eventually buy it. Jedi Order, yes, I'm working for that. Every single release of the new ones, Outer Worlds, I see you, yeah, that's why I spent all this time today on the hot sun, because I don't want to blink an eye when I press that order button or when I go pick up my game. Alright guys, when I play those games, it's going to be sweeter. Remember what I always tell you. Always, and I mean never ever be afraid to be happy. No matter what you do, do it with love. Do it with love. Have a goal. Work your tail off at something you love, and you'll always, always be happy. I will catch you on the next one. Take care. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Gen X Gamer. Remember to like and subscribe, click the notification bell, and remember, never be afraid to be happy. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care.